Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Hood, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the people's champion. Your host, and welcome back to the Baseball Hood. And of course, I'm recording this in the 8th inning. I don't know what's going to happen. Mets are losing right now 4-0, and the Brewers are beating the Reds. So even if the Reds lose, folks, the Mets going to go home if they don't win this game. So right now, Pete Alonso is up. This could be his last at bat as a Met. Right now, he hit a screaming line drive in the 6th inning. That got caught by the left fielder. I thought it was going to go for a hit. He hit the ball so hard it didn't even look like it went off the ground. But 1-2 pitch. They used the bullpen very, very generously in this game. The big culprit in the game in terms of the pitching side was Ryan Stanek again. Pitched terrible. And Tyler Rogers. Just a disaster. I mean, Rogers, the big disappointment. Ryan Helsdale, we'll say, has pitched much better over the last few weeks. But this is just a disaster. I mean, my goodness. I said last week that the Mets had to sweep the Nationals, and they didn't do that. I warned the Mets on Tuesday, that if they didn't get this thing right and win this thing, that I was going to go scorched earth. His 2-2 pitch, ground ball, that base hit. Pete's doing everything he can to keep this team in a good situation. Yeah, Pete's been great all season, and he's had a great year. There's a line drive by Brandon Nimmo, one out in the 8th inning. Brandon's at bats the last couple weeks have not been great, folks. To be honest with you, in terms of the result, he had probably the biggest at bat of the season last week when he struck out in the 9th inning. On that game on Saturday afternoon, when the Mets needed that game, they tied the game up in the 9th inning, and they couldn't push through, and he struck out. That was the biggest at bat of the season. Here's Mark Vientos. Of course, Brett Beatty's done for the season. Hurt his oblique the other day. We have Ronnie Mauricio. Depending on how quickly this inning goes, I'm going to run through a little bit of this team a little bit, but I'll have a big video discussing what went wrong. And it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty, folks. It's going to be really bad. But again, the Mets still have a shot. So they got 5 outs left. 5 outs left in this game. And in this season. Ball, strike one. I mean, the thing is that the Mets played all the teams they needed to play, folks. They had such a strange season. And September was such a strange September. They went 4-5 at home, the last homestand. They lost 2 out of 3 in Cincinnati. That was a killer. They got swept in Philadelphia. Lost 2 out of 3 to the Rangers. Won 2 out of 3 in Chicago against the Cubs. You know what happened there? The crazy controversy there with Gary Cohen. And they lost the first game in Miami, being up 2-0 in the game. And then winning yesterday. I'll tell you, Mark Vientos, guys drive me crazy, you know. But we're going to get into this because at some point, just going through this team is it's giving me I don't get migraines, but ball 4. So Mets got first and second, 1 out. And let's see who's up next. I forgot. Jeff McNeil. Jeff McNeil's had a terrible September. And again, they mentioned during the broadcast that he's had a good year. He's hitting 246, guys. He's been hitting 250 most of the season. He's not had a great year, in my opinion. Especially for a guy that's won a batting title in the past. He might be seeing this might be his last at bat as a Met. Behind 0-1 is the next pitch. Here's the pitch. Now, of course, please like this video and hit the subscribe button. Again, I don't know how long this video is going to go. I don't know if the Reds game is going to last longer than this game. But if the Mets lose, it's not going to matter because they're going to go home. You know. Here's the pitch. Strike 2. I'll tell you, Jeff McNeil's had really bad at-bats in September. He really has. So the Brewers are up 4-2 in the bottom of the bottom of the eighth. So the Brewers have to get 3 outs to get that game, and then it was just all comes down to the Mets. God, what a terrible bat. Jeff McNeil, God, strikes out. Man, what is wrong with this guy? Hold on, I need to drink. Wow. Terrible. You gotta have a good at bat. To see these kinds of at bats from some of these guys. But that's the up and down nature of this team. I've been talking about this for years. And he needs to be out of here. I mean, you know, he's been an okay Met, but he has to go. I'm tired of his act. I guess he has got 1 more year on his contract. I'm going to get into all this stuff in a follow-up video. Probably a video I'll probably post tomorrow. We'll see. Maybe I'll record it later. So it's the bottom of the 8th inning in Milwaukee, and the Brewers are beating the Reds. 0-2 on Alvarez. Alvarez has done a good job since he's been back. Boy, he still takes these super cuts. These crazy cuts. Here's the pitch. Ball 1. And it had to go to Ronnie Mauricio because Brett Baty being hurt. You can't play Vientos at third. And Mauricio, he's not played. You know, they've been very unfair the way they've treated him. He should have been in the minor leagues just getting his at-bats. Foul it off. He should have been getting his at-bats in the minor leagues and not been here. You know, he's going to have to go to the Dominican and the Dominican Winter League and get some at-bats. Him and Acuna. You know. But like I said about Acuna, he does so many things well, but he just has no power. If I can combine those two guys, what kind of player I would have? Here's the pitch. 1-2 pitch. Ball 2. 2-2. Mets have 83 wins right now. So, and win this game, they had 84. The win total is not bad, obviously. You got to win season, but major disappointment. They don't win this. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Ball 3. Ball 3. Here's the pitch. 3-2 pitch. Runners will be running. Swinging a mess. This fucking guy. You knew he wasn't getting a strike. What the hell is he swinging for? It's terrible. This team, I tell you, in terms of the at-bats, in terms of the sort of grinding it out, you got to grind that at-bat. You got to take that pitch, man. Broke the bat over his leg. Well, that's great. He knocked himself out with they'd use his head next time. But this team is got 3 outs now, folks. 3 outs. The Mets, just to sort of let you know, the Mets have used 46 pitchers this season. 46 pitchers. And that includes the position players. I just wanted to mention that because I think that needs to be mentioned. And I'll mention that a few times as we go into the off season. This is very disgusting to me because I only get mad, folks, when I think the team is good and they play poorly. That's the only time I get really pissed. I don't get mad when they're bad. I don't care. And, you know, and here's the thing. Even if they come back in the 9th inning, which they've not done all year, they have not had one comeback in the 9th inning, folks, all season long. And that says a lot about this team, about its grit, and its ability to win late in the game, about their character. There's been something missing with this team. We've been hearing little bits and pieces of it all year, especially over the last few weeks, last month or so, that there may be a leadership issue in this clubhouse, you know, which we've kind of known about. But it didn't really rear its head last year because we had leaders in that clubhouse like J. Martinez was a leader. We know that. Jose Quintana was a leader. This is according to Jose Iglesias. And according to Juan Soto, he said about a month ago that Starlin Marte was the leader of the Mets and not Francisco Lindor, which is telling because obviously, you know, Marte is not an everyday player anymore. So, you know, and all the players go to him. I mean, you look at the numbers that the Mets have put up this year. They have two guys that have scored over 100 runs, two guys that have over 100 RBIs, three guys with 30 home runs or more. And this is a struggle. And they have no runs in this game, by the way. You have one of the great all-time seasons in the history of the Mets with Juan Soto this year, with a 164 OPS, 162 OPS coming into today. 105 RBIs, 43 home runs. No Mets ever done that. 38 stolen bases, 126 walks, 120 runs scored. Crazy. So now we're going into the ninth inning with the Brewers. So Mets have not taken care of any business, Gary. God. What a disaster. And again, I will stick around and I'm even going to dissect this game. It doesn't matter what this game is. This never should have happened. Okay? If they'd taken care of business last week against the Nationals and had swept them, and they had those two games, especially the second game in hand, right then and there in the ninth inning, we wouldn't be having this discussion. We're talking about how they were going to play the Dodgers on Tuesday, but we still had 3 outs to go. So as long as you got outs, you got a chance. Mets had 3 guys with over 85 RBIs on this, 4 guys with over 80 RBIs on this team, 85 RBIs on this team. Brandon Hill has 92 RBIs. You wouldn't know with some of the at-bats that he's had of recent note. You know. 117 runs scored for Francisco Lindor. That's a double. Soto's terrible. That's another guy that pitched terrible for them. That's Soto. Soto pitched terrible. Tyler Rogers pitched terrible. Ryan Helsley pitched terrible. All guys that were brought in before the trade deadline. And Ryan Helsley has pitched terrible all season long as well. You know. And this is what we have right now. I mean, at this point, I really don't know what to say because, I want to see the team win, but maybe this is the best thing that can happen because they break this team up. Now, I do know that there are going to be changes. I have a subscriber called A Prodigy. He's written to me and told me there's going to be changes. We'll see. But the thing they need to do, if this doesn't work, is do a major overhaul of the personality of this team. Because it's not a talent problem; it's a character problem. And they're not bad guys. I think I've said that. Nemo's a great guy. Pete's a great guy. McNeil's a little sketchy. He's a little sketchy, that guy. Hold on, need a drink. Look. But some of these guys they brought in, and of course, disaster amongst disasters, Cedric Mullins, who has done absolutely nothing for the Mets. He has hit 183. I didn't even know he had 2 home runs. 183. Believe that shit? 183. 183. OPS is 64. It's terrible. There's a pop-up. 1 out. We'll see if the Mets come back in the ninth inning, but the fact they've not done that, again, I hate to be a broken record and a parrot, that talks about their character and their ability to get up off the mat. This team's had a bit of a glass jaw. We saw this on Friday when they fell down by 4 runs, or 5 runs, or whatever it was, 6 runs, and Alcantara just threw 6 pitches in the 6th inning, and 8 pitches in the 7th inning, and it showed that glass jaw. As a group, they're just not good as a group. I mean, I remember Bobby Valentine used to talk about the strength of the group in terms of the players. what are they like as a group? He never really talked about a team. He always talked about groupings, and it's always talked about how players, how they fit together. Does it work well on the field? Does it work well on in the clubhouse? But more importantly, on the field, is a ball in the field. I know they praise Lindor's defense, but he's had a terrible defensive year. Mets have had a terrible defensive month, and he's had a terrible year defensively. His offense has been pretty good, except for these long drafts that he goes through. But his defense has been terrible this year. I never praised his defense today, which I couldn't understand. And I'm not too happy with the broadcast. And usually with the broadcast, here in the top of the ninth, then you got 2 outs in the Reds game. This looks like this is going to be the 3rd out. Oh, great. So the Reds have lost. And the Mets got to win this game. I mean, come on. Got 1 out in 2nd and 3rd. Mets got to win this game. Unbelievable. It all comes down to God helps those who help themselves. The Mets have to help themselves right now. Because right now they're back in front, but they don't hold the tiebreaker. The Reds hold the tiebreaker. That's it, down 4-0, 1 out in the 8th inning. 2nd and 3rd, and Soto was pitching. Not Juan Soto, this is Sergio. This other dope Soto. Gregory Soto is dope. I like Sergio better. Here's the pitch. 1-1, strike 2, strike 1. I mean, looking at the numbers that the Mets have here, the guys have had such a great... I mean, you look at the totality of the numbers in this season. They've had a good season. I got all screwed up with the ticker here. It's 1st and 3rd. Excuse me. That's their screw up. Mets need a strikeout here. Soto throw strike 3. Throw strike 3 so we can get the hell out of here and have 2 outs and get out of here. Mets have a shot now, but can't give up any more runs here. Right now, the Mets have a shot to win this thing. They have to get these last 2 outs without giving up any more runs. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Ball 2. I mean, if you look at this bullpen, every guy in this bullpen has pitched poorly except for Edwin Diaz and Brooks Raley. All the guys that David Stearns brought in, they all pitched terribly. Cedric Mullins was terrible. Struck him out. Good. 2 out. All right. Now, of course, please like this video and subscribe. Also, I'm on Facebook, and this video will go on Facebook in terms of straight to the Facebook. I'll probably put this as a link. But you need to follow me on Facebook. I got a lot of stuff on there. It's a little bit different. A lot of baseball highlights, a lot of old stuff. Been doing a lot of flashbacks, basically, in this day of Mets history. Mets clinching a lot of things. Maybe today they can clinch today. But they got to get this last out in this inning. Did it hit him? Hit him? I don't think it hit him. And you're going to replay on this to see if it hit him. Yeah, that hit him. It looked like it did to begin with. I tell you, umpiring is so bad in baseball. This won't take long. You know why they don't get the umpiring better is because it costs them. They make money off of these replays and stuff. They wouldn't be doing it if they weren't making money off of it. It's the only reason why they're doing that. Otherwise, how much money is this costing them? It's not costing them much. It's a business. Okay, here's a pitch. I know the other angle didn't look like he got him. This looked like he got him. Yeah, he's going first. So the Reds lost today. So the Mets have a chance to win and go, I guess, to Los Angeles, I guess. Now the bases are loaded. Oh, that's great. Gregory Soto, thank you. Gregory Soto, Juan Soto's less successful distant relative. I will mention the New York Giants won. They beat the Chargers today. Couldn't believe it. 3-0. The Chargers were 3-0. Because we'll be doing a lot of videos on the Giants soon. Probably tonight. I would mention at the football head, of course. Sure, I'd love to get that thing monetized. It's a pain in my ass, that thing. Real struggle, the football HUD. Here's the pitch. Foul ball. That'd be nice to get the football check. I would mention that, next year we're going to have a bad labor strife. It's going to be bad, folks. It is going to be bad. Going to be bad. I'd love to get the football head monetized. Do have bills to pay. Do have bills to pay. That's for sure. So the AL Central goes to the Guardians. Unbelievable. They were behind 15 games. So the Tigers did not collapse, but they came awfully close to collapsing. And the Astros are not going to the postseason for the first time since 2016. Ball 2-1. Don't walk this guy, please. Don't walk this guy. So the Red Sox are going to play the Guardians, and the Yankees are going to be playing the Tigers. Tigers terrible when I saw them about a month ago. Swing, fouled it off. Now I was thinking that there's only really two coaches on the Mets that actually had done a good job this year. The first base coach, Antoine Richardson, and Lynn Sherlock, the catching coach. Pretty much every other coach had a terrible year. Their base coach was terrible. The pitching coach, the hitting coach. It's 2-2 pitch. Please get him out, please. Ground ball to Pete. All right. Let's have 3 outs now. Mets have 3 outs to save their season. Let's have 3 outs to work with to save their season. Well, at least we know that the Reds lost. So now, if the Mets lose in this 9th inning, they only have themselves to blame because, quite frankly, they let this happen. The lack of urgency, the lack of detail. And, I was talking to one of my relatives, and they asked me, he's like, why do you want to get so mad about this team and stuff? Why do you want to go all scorched earth? Well, it makes me feel better. It'll make me feel better. As a Met fan, you put in the time to watch the team. And one thing you want is good effort. You want hard work and good at bats and pitching smartly and not making mistakes and not walking batters and falling behind the count. And they did that all season, And you want to see the team play well. And then we got to hear all this nonsense about things online. It's just complete total nonsense. And then it feeds into the frenzy of the angry Met fans that are out there. Well, I was right. You have no idea what you're talking about. But, but we'll see what happens here. I've done videos like this where we've gone into the 9th inning. And the Mets always seem to find a way to, come around. We'll see. We'll see. Right now, it's Ronnie Mauricio, I guess, is going to lead off the 9th inning here. See what happens here. Mets down 4-0. 8, 9, and 1 are up. Got to get Pete up. Pete up. That's the goal. Get Pete up. It's probably going to come down to either Lindor or Soto. That's probably what it's going to come down to. I'll tell you, Mauricio has to get some at-bats this offseason. He has to get more playing time. The Mets didn't give him the kind of time that he needed to really develop, and I thought them, looking back on it, they should have sent him back to the minors early September. Ball 3. Okay. Oh, the immortal Cedric Mullins is up on deck. And Francisco Lindor. Strike 1, 3-1. I would say Clay Holmes pitched great last night. He pitched really good yesterday. Ball 4. Like I said, Clay Holmes, I think, really pitched well yesterday. He's had a great season. For a guy that had never started in the major leagues and been in the rotation for a whole season, he had an excellent season. So, of all the mistakes the Mets made with the pitching, that's the one thing they did make a mistake with. He finished the whole season. He kind of burned out, but last night he came up big when they needed him. Here's the first thing to Mulligan. Might as well call him Mulligan. He's not going to be back next year. Let's just take a mulligan on him. Send him back to Baltimore. And get Harrison Bader in here. But there were rumors they were trying to get him. They should just brought him back. To the hell with that. Know what he could do in a big spot. That's going to be an out. 1 out. 2 outs. Mets have 2 outs now. 2 outs. Very disappointing. Now Francisco Lindor is up, and then we'll see if Juan Soto gets another at bat. This game could be over on a double play here. He's had a good year, but his defense has been terrible. This Lindor, and I've said for the last few years, Lindor should have won the last 3 Gold Gloves in 22, 23, and 24. But this year the defense has been lacking. He's going to be 32 years old in November. And that can't be forgotten about. Here's the pitch. Oh, it's going to be a double play. Oh, my God. Damn it. God damn it. Damn it. God damn it. God damn it. God damn it. Said he's going to get it to a double play. Now we're going to have to go scorched earth. They had it here. They had a chance to win this game, and they didn't do it. And this is, I wouldn't say this is as bad as 2007, but this was a slow draining of blood out of a body. My goodness. And to see this team fall apart like this is on everybody in the entire organization. Everything that has happened, folks, is because everything in the organization failed. The entire organization. From ownership down. From ownership down. To be honest with you. The only thing that wasn't bad this year was the minor leagues. We had 2 teams that won championships, and this team has done nothing. All the money they spent, all the time they invested in this team, all the money that Cohen has spent, and this is how they've played. But again, this is how they've played for several years. I would think that this is a wake-up call to the front office and to ownership that they have to change things up here. Okay, how many times are you going to do this? Okay, we saw this 3 years ago. We saw this 2 years ago in May or in June. We saw how poorly they played in May last year. But this was a long, drawn-out bullshit. And the Mets had a chance to win this game. They had a chance in the 6th inning with the bases loaded. They let this Marlins team beat them again. This is a complete total failure by the organization. You know. And it's like deja vu. The penultimate game of the season in 2007, 2008, 2025, they had great pitching performances. and then they don't even show up for the final game. You know, the bullpen was terrible. The offense was non-existent in this game, and this is how they've played all season long. And they did not have one comeback in the ninth inning. Now I'm going to have a separate video because now I'm kind of, I didn't feel good about today at all, and I was dreading doing this video and talking about this team. And I just didn't feel good about it. This was more about the Mets really than the Marlins today. This is more about the Mets than it was about the Reds. And I warned subscribers and warned people for the last year. All year long I was saying, gotta watch out for the Reds. Gotta watch out for the Reds. Because they had the great manager. This was a team that had struggled in September the last few years with the manager that seemed a little overwhelmed by a pennant race, and they brought in a manager to get them to the postseason, and he got them to the postseason. And even though they lost today, they won 2 out of 3 in that series against Milwaukee. I was warned, and I was saying all year long the Mets had to win the division. You don't want to get in the muck of a wild card situation, because then what's going to happen is if you struggle, and then Mets struggled against these bad teams like the Washington Nationals, you're going to have a disaster on your hands as you go down further down the line. And they played the Reds. The Mets played the Reds this month. Lost 2 out of 3. 4 out of 6 losses to the Reds. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. And again, this is a total failure by the organization. And to see this team be 21 games over, what did they say, the 1905 Naps, Cleveland Naps, and the 1975 Chicago Cubs were 21 games over 500, and the Mets have the lowest win total of that? Was it 83 wins? Just crazy. But it is what it is, you know. But like I said, this team had plenty of chances the past week. The games against the Nationals, that's what's that really sticks in my craw, especially the second game, because they had that game. And we can talk about whatever about Jacob Wilson that was making those plays, for the Nationals in that last game at Citi Field, but they lost that series and really lost the wild card that Saturday. Because they had the game there in the ninth inning. They tied the game up. It was the first time they had tied the game up in the ninth inning, and they didn't get over the hump. And now they're going home, and they deserve it. They deserve to go home. And unfortunately, we got to deal with this. And now I'm going to have to get really mean. And like I said, this will be more therapeutic for me. I don't know about you. This is going to be more therapeutic for me. And I've been feeling this for the last week. I warned them on Monday, in my video on Tuesday, that I didn't turn this thing around. I was going to get nasty and mean, and I'm going to get mean now. You know. I wonder if we've seen the last of Edwin Diaz here. He had a great season. He had a 1.63 ERA. He had a great year. You have some guys here that had great years and doesn't mean shit. Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything. Well, the one good thing is it did happen at home. There was a lot of people there at the ballpark. A lot of people at the ballpark. There were a lot of Met fans there. So one kid, he was crying, fucking his father. But this is a disappointment. But this is I'm going to dissect this, in a video, what happened here, because this is really disgusting, quite frankly. And this video is going to take a while for it to edit and stuff, but boy, oh boy. This is a disaster, unmitigated disaster for this franchise. We thought that these things, they would pass these kinds of things. Or at least I thought they were. And I would say this, the Mets need to move on, get rid of more of these Wilpine people. Not only in terms of the players, but also the people making decisions here. There aren't too many that have been here, but they're still skulking around. And they need to get rid of everybody, down to the usher, down to the ticket people. you know. But it's just this was not an enjoyable season, to be honest with you. You know, early in the year, I was thinking to myself that this year was reminding me of 2000. Like it was just going to be sort of a fait accompli that they were going to get the postseason. But they were missing something. I think they were missing something all season. I mean, they didn't have this sort of sense of urgency, real lack of attention to detail, excuse me. They had a zero comeback ability, which is very unusual for any team in Major League Baseball not to be able to come back in games. And to see this sort of, and I was funny, I was going through the baseball reference. The Mets used 47 pitchers this year, 46 pitchers. Why? Why did they have the need to use 46 pitchers? What the hell's going on in this organization that you need that amount of pitching? I mean, really? Why do you need all these pitchers? And I thought it was very difficult and very unfair for the Mets to be expecting big performances out of Nolan McLean, Jonah Tong, and, of course, Brandon Sprout. I thought it was very, very unfair of the Mets to do that. And I wasn't happy that they called up Dylan Ross, not because he probably couldn't help them, but because it's unfair, you know. You asking like 3 rookie pitchers to come in here and win big down the stretch. It's one thing when they brought up, years ago, Seth Lugo and Robert Gazelman. That's a totally different story than what we have here. This is a totally different situation. Because that team had been to the World Series. That team had just needed a little help with the rotation. They had Syndergaard at the top of the rotation, and they had an anchor. This team did not really have an anchor. And unfortunately, David Stearns is probably going to have to spend some money here to get a starting pitcher in here. That's not a guy that... He might have to go more than 3 years on a guy. Now, I have not gone through the players this year who are going to be free agents. But he's going to have to dig out of his own pride and bring in a pitcher that's going to help this team, at least anchor this team, even through a trade. And that's something they're going to have to address. This team needs a big starting pitcher. If you're going to spend all this money, you need an ace on this team. And not an old guy. You have a big farm system, start using that capital. And at the same time, change the personality of the everyday players as well. And they're going to have to do that. I'll get into it in a separate video. This is just beyond belief. So Clay Holmes won 12-8. He had a good year. Man, that's a good year. 3.6 strikeout walks per 9 innings. That's not bad. He pitched so great last night for the Mets. David Peterson's another guy. He pitched really well, but he just sort of ran out of gas. Kodai Senga, disaster. Griffin Canning got hurt. That really was a kill. That injury killed him. Shoman Naya has pitched. He pitched like he's pitched before he got here. And Frankie Montas, I don't understand that signing, and then he hurt his arm, and now he's done it, and we don't have to see him again. But I'll have a video on this later. I'll probably record it later. I got to watch some of the nonsense that the players and this manager is going to talk about. This really pisses me off. So, you let me know what you think about this video. I'm sure you'll let me know. This will take a while to unload. This is a long video. I don't normally post videos this length. But if you're mad as I am, please, of course, subscribe. I am going to unload on this team now. I don't want to do it. I didn't want to do it, but I'm going to do it because it has to be done. Well, thank you for watching. Hit the subscribe button. Sorry, everybody. I was hoping to get us all the postseason. I was hoping they'd get us there, but they didn't get us there. And that's it.